Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Today we are diving into, well, a universe that looks very different from the one Western science was picturing about a century ago.
Absolutely. We're looking at this early 20th century text, Ancient and Modern Physics.
And it makes this really bold argument, doesn't it? That Hindu and Theosophical cosmology isn't just some kind of mystical thinking.
No, not at all. The claim is it's the actual blueprint for physics, for life, even for mind itself.
So our mission really is to get inside this source material and see what it's saying.
Exactly. And the core idea is pretty startling, that the ancients understood the universe's structure from the cosmic scale down to the tiniest particle, way beyond their modern counterpart.
Their physics, the author argues, Thomas Willson, it's the essential key, the thing you need to unlock everything else in their metaphysics.
Right. And the central hook, the defining feature of this reality they describe.
It's that the universe isn't just physical stuff.
No, it's made of 4 distinct planes, or types, of matter.
And the only thing that separates them is vibration.
Just their rate of vibration. Everything you see, touch, experience, it's all part of this vibrational spectrum.
It's this idea of continuity taken to the extreme.
It really is.
Hi.
So when you look out at the world, you're only seeing like one narrow band of frequency.
A low-frequency band, according to this.
Yeah, there's this whole multi-layered reality vibrating at speeds we don't normally perceive. This ancient view sees the physical universe as this spectrum.
Okay, let's break that down. Section 1. These 4 material planes of vibration, starting at the bottom.
Right. The stuff we know, the physical matter we interact with, they call that prakriti. That's the first lowest layer.
And it vibrates relatively slowly.
With the thousands, yeah.
Yeah.
Comparatively slow. They divide all matter into these 4 kinds, these planes.
Separated by, what was it, gulfs of lost octaves?
Gulfs of lost octaves, exactly.
Yeah.
Which really hints at these huge jumps in vibration.
Okay, so prakriti is first. What's next?
Next up is ether. Much rarer, much finer than prakriti. Its lowest vibration rate. It starts in the trillions.
Whoa, hold on. Trillions? That's not just a bit faster.
Not at all. It's a completely different order of magnitude.
That conceptual jump from thousands to trillions. I mean, Western science was only just beginning to theorize about ether then, right?
Right. And the ancients weren't just describing, a thinner gas. They were talking about a fundamentally different state of matter.
A whole different realm of material reality. Okay, so prakriti, ether. What's beyond ether?
It gets even more subtle. The third plane is prana.
Prana, like life force.
Exactly. But conceived as a type of matter itself. It's the universal life principle, the active organizing force that works on the ether to structure things, to create vitality.
And the fourth, the final physical plane.
That's manasa. The highest, the finest form of physical matter. It's described almost as pure thought.
Thought as matter.
As the most refined form of matter, yeah. It's the product of the spiritual planes above it. And with manasa, the physical material universe basically ends. That's the boundary.
Wow. Okay. And this layering, this spectrum, it actually structures the cosmos.
It does, into what they call globes within globes. It's quite a picture.
So our physical Earth, the one we're on, is a globe of prakriti.
Floating in this vast ocean of ether.
Which makes the sun more than just a star.
Much more. It's the center of a huge etheric sun globe, the diameter. Over 300 billion miles, according to the text.
300 billion miles. And that whole etheric system, it revolves around something else.
Around the star Alcyone, yeah.
And Alcyone is the center of, don't tell me, a pranic globe.
You got it. An even bigger pranic globe.
Okay, my head's spinning slightly.
It's a big concept. And those pranic globes, in turn, are floating within the immense ocean of the manasic globe.
So the key thing for you listening is, you're not just on Earth. You're inside these nested spheres of different densities all at once.
Precisely. You exist within all 4 simultaneously.
Which really puts the early 20th century Western physics into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. The source points out, when physicists like Sir Oliver Lodge started suggesting atoms were just whirls of ether.
Dividing matter into 2 kinds, prakriti and ether.
The Hindu sage apparently found this quite amusing. It was an old story to them.
Because they already had 2 more planes mapped out beyond that.
They did. And crucially, this understanding wasn't built up from experiments in the Western sense. It was considered foundational knowledge.
Knowledge about how matter itself came to be.
Exactly. This involutionary chain. Manasa differentiates, producing prana. Prana combines to create ether. Ether then combines to produce prakriti, our visible world.
Okay, now here's where, for me, it gets really interesting.
The microcosm reflecting the macrocosm.
Yes. This huge globes within globes structure. It's replicated inside every single atom.
Perfectly. The unity is absolute in this system. Western science, maybe back then, could accept the atom as, a prakriti sphere with some kind of etheric field or molecule around it.
But the ancient teaching goes further.
Much further. It says every single prakritic atom, the stuff we call physical matter, has a triple envelope.
Triple. So the atom is actually fourfold.
Fourfold. Absolutely.
Okay, break that down. What are the four parts?
So first you have the prakriti atom itself, the physical bit we measure.
Right.
Around that is an etheric molecule. Western science might stop there, maybe?
But there's more.
Oh, yes. Each tiny atom of that etheric molecule is itself the center of a pranic molecule.
Okay, layers within layers.
And then one step deeper, each atom of that prana molecule is the center of a manasic molecule.
Wow. So literally, if I pick up a rock...
You're holding something fourfold. Prakriti, ether, prana, manasa, all there. A perfect tiny replica of the entire cosmic structure.
Mind-blowing. And the structure isn't just static, it's functional. It's how things happen.
Exactly. Through what the text calls courting vibration. This is the mechanism for energy, life, and mind.
Okay, how does that work? Courting vibration.
Think of it like musical chords. If the prakriti atom vibrates in chord only with its etheric envelope,
So two planes vibrating together.
that produces what we experience as force or physical phenomena.
Yeah.
Gravity, light, heat, electricity, that's the two-plane chord.
Okay. What about three planes?
Now add the third plane, prana, the life force. When you get prakriti, ether, and prana vibrating in chord together,
That's life.
that's life. That particular three-plane resonance, they poetically called it the silver chord.
The silver chord. And the fourth plane, manasa, thought.
When manasa joins in, yes. When all four planes, prakriti, ether, prana, and manasa, vibrate in chord.
That produces mind.
That's mind, the golden chord.
So every single atom potentially contains energy, life, and thought.
The potentiality, yes, depending on which planes are sounding together. This right here is the physical basis, the backbone of Oriental metaphysics, according to this source.
That's a profoundly unified view. The same mechanism moving planets also determines if a crystal can hold, well, some precursor to...
The unity is total.
But it begs the question, doesn't it? If they knew all this intricate, multi-layered reality without our modern tools, how? How did they know?
Well, that brings us to how knowledge itself is understood, their epistemology.
Right. The source says there are two distinct ways of knowing, and the West often mixes them up.
Exactly. Western thinking, especially science back then, focused heavily on what's called relative knowledge.
And that comes from observation.
Experiments.
Observation, experience, reasoning from the facts the senses provide. But here's the catch. This knowledge is always limited by the facts you currently have.
So it has to change when new facts come along. It's only relatively true.
Precisely. It needs constant updates, constant restatements.
Okay, so what was the ancient sages' primary source then?
Absolute knowledge. This comes from intuition.
Intuition. They called it wisdom or whiz.
Yes, whiz. This kind of knowledge is seen as invariably true, unchanging. It provides the fundamental axioms, the key principles that reason then builds upon. So like knowing a straight line is the shortest distance, or that the Earth goes around the sun. These were known intuitively, absolutely before proof.
Long before observational proof, yes. Think of absolute knowledge as the fundamental operating system code. Relative knowledge is like the apps running on top, always needing patches and updates.
But if they had this master key, this absolute knowledge, why did Western thought seem to discard it for so long, relying only on the relative changing kind?
Well, that's the core criticism in the text. It suggests that even when Western science did make a big leap.
Like accepting the ether.
Exactly. That acceptance didn't really come from just piling up observations. It was more of an intuitive necessity. A revealed truth, you might say.
An absolute knowledge insight.
That's the argument. Intuition provided the insight, the absolute concept, and then reason worked to structure it, explain it, test it. Reason follows intuition's path.
Okay, let's take that foundational absolute knowledge and apply it back to the physical world. What did they know about, say, the Earth itself that science was missing?
Well, one of the most striking claims is about the Earth's true size.
Not the roughly 8,000-mile diameter we learn in school.
Nope. The ancient books, according to this source, state the true diameter is about 50,000 miles.
Wait, 50,000, that's huge. Where does that number come from? How could they possibly calculate that?
Apparently from Kepler's laws of motion, but specifically by understanding the balance between gravity,
Attraction, which decreases with the square of distance.
right, and a counterforce they called apergy, repulsion.
Apergy, I haven't heard that term much.
No, it's not common now. But it was conceived as this cosmic pushback force that increases with distance and time specifically as the cube of the distance relative to the square of the time.
Okay, so it's a balancing act. Gravity pulls in, apergy pushes out.
Exactly. And the 50,000-mile diameter marks the boundary, the shell, where these two forces perfectly balance.
The line corresponding to a 24-hour axial rotation.
That's the idea. So we don't live on the surface of that 50,000-mile globe. We live deep within it.
Down here at the bottom of, what did you call it? A gaseous ocean.
Yes. In a relatively thin skin or kinetic belt, maybe only 100 miles thick or so. This is the zone where matter does its familiar changes: solid, liquid, gas.
So the phenomena we experience are limited to this narrow band inside the true Earth globe.
That's the concept.
And this ancient knowledge, it didn't just cover Earth, right? It made claims about the solar system that contradicted Western astronomy at the time.
Oh, definitely. A major point of contention was about Mercury and Venus.
What about them?
The Eastern teaching was apparently quite clear. Mercury and Venus were dead and disintegrating.
Dead. Why?
Because, the teaching claimed, they have no axial rotation relative to the sun. They're tidally locked, always showing the same face to the sun.
Okay. But wasn't Western astronomy certain they did rotate?
For decades, yes. Astronomers published rotation times, supposedly measured with absolute accuracy. That was the accepted scientific fact.
A fact that turned out to be wrong.
Completely wrong. It took until 1894, with astronomers like Schiaparelli and Flammarion, for Western science to confirm the ancient view.
That Mercury and Venus don't rotate in the way they thought. They are essentially locked.
Exactly. It was a huge validation for the ancient system's claims based on absolute knowledge, and a bit of an embarrassment for observational science at the time. A real solar stumbling block, as the text calls it.
Incredible. Okay, one last piece here. How did they explain energy transfer? Like, how does the sun's energy reach us without just dissipating into space?
Right. They didn't see it as just radiating uselessly outwards. They proposed a kind of precise wireless system.
Wireless energy transfer across space.
Yes. The idea is the sun's energy, light, heat, life force isn't wasted. It's absorbed and used by the planets through specific pathways.
Pathways connecting. What?
Points called Laya centers. These are conceived as transforming points or nodes for energy. There's one inside the planet and a corresponding hidden one inside the sun's photosphere.
And the energy travels along the specific line between them.
Along what's called the path of Fohat.
Fohat.
Fohat is described as the dynamic cosmic electricity, the messenger, the force that bridges these points.
So energy flows directly, planet to sun to planet, along these Fohatic lines.
Exactly. And this creates dynamic energy fields. The text argues that the old astrology, the real, ancient kind.
Not just horoscopes.
No, not that. It was actually based on the physical interference of these dynamic solar energy fields along the paths of Fohat. How the planets align would influence these fields and their effect on Earth.
So astrology is a problem of, like, field dynamics.
Basically, yes. A physics of interacting energy fields between celestial bodies via these Laya centers.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. What does it all mean?
Well, when you synthesize this whole perspective, you see ancient physics, as presented here, wasn't just vague mysticism.
No, it was a really coherent, unified system.
Incredibly unified. It described these four planes of matter: the fourfold structure of the atom, this dynamic balance of cosmic forces like gravity and apergy, ideas that in some ways anticipated or paralleled later scientific concepts, but from a totally different foundation.
And that foundation was this core belief in continuity.
Absolutely. The idea that matter and spirit aren't separate, but points on a continuum of vibration, that everything is interconnected.
And that allowed them to build this whole metaphysical structure where physics, life, and mind are all part of the same system.
It formed the physical basis for their entire philosophy.
Which brings us to the final, really provocative thought that emerges from all this.
The culmination of this worldview.
If the entire material universe, everything we see and measure, from, a grain of sand to galaxies,
It's just a temporary effect, a phenomenon caused by the motion of these differentiated atoms vibrating in chords.
then what happens if that motion stops?
According to this ancient teaching, if the underlying vibration ceased, all matter would instantly resolve back into pure, undifferentiated spirit.
Poof. So the physical world you experience every single day, your own body, the ground you walk on, the stars, it's actually, in their view, an illusion.
Maya, lacking ultimate permanence, lacking fixed, independent reality.
Which leaves you with the biggest question of all, doesn't it?
The ultimate one.
If this reality of motion and vibration is the illusion, what is the nature of the true, unmoving, absolute reality that underlies it all? And how could you possibly perceive that?
Something to definitely ponder.